First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nubler. Thank you very much for joining us. We're live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. There's a live look from our Shriners camera there overlooking Portland to the east side. And, you know, if you keep going east on the Sandy River tomorrow, you might see quite a scene as people are going to be fishing for smelt. What does that mean? We're going to get into that here. This is, again, we're live streaming here out of the newsroom. We cover a wide range of topics, but this is a fun one to discuss about smelt on the Sandy River and what people are going to be able to do on Wednesday, March 11th, to capture some of their own. And we're going to talk all about that right now. Joining us, we have Ben Walczak from ODFW, from the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. Ben, thank you for joining us here to talk about this. And you know, I'm aware of this moment that happens every year when you see all those people with their nets trying to grab these smelt. But I wanted to talk to you, you know, to start off, I guess, would you mind just telling us just a little bit about yourself and your role there at ODFW?
So I'm what's called the district fish biologist. So I manage some of the fisheries in the kind of the Willamette Valley, the North Willamette Valley. So that includes the Sandy, the Clackamas, and the Molalla. So we do all things fish.
All things fish, and a lot, and that's a lot to cover. That's a wide range geographical area that you're covering right there. But this in particular, what we're talking about is on the Sandy, and we're talking about this particular fish, the smelt. And I've got an image here. And I was wondering, Ben, could you tell us what is a smelt?
Yeah, it's a small fish, but it's hugely important culturally, and it has been, you know, since the First Nations, really, you know, that was kind of the start of everything for them. So they're about 2 to 5 years old in these pictures. Most of them are 3 years old. These are adults. They're generally 6 to 8 inches, up to 10 inches long, but they're 15 to 20% fat, and they come back in a time of year where food was scarce. So these are like very important. And they continue to be that way. They kind of connect they're very essential to the California current and larger fish and forage for everything that kind of moves in that current and then up the river.
So important for a lot of reasons, and it sounds like both culturally, ecologically, all of that. And I think that's really interesting. Just to ask about that again. So you mentioned, you know, how important these are culturally to some of the native communities and indigenous communities. And this was because it was a really good food source at certain times of the year. Is that right?
Yeah. You know, this time of year historically is a time when there's a food scarcity. These come back and they're very rich calorically, and they're, you know, they would boil them down to create oils because they're so fatty, and that would, you know, let them trade with other inland people and move trade back and forth, and then kind of set up their whole season around that. So they're kind of a happy fish. It's a happy time of year. People are now, you know, not hungry anymore, and they would have a lot of different, just, you know, cultural celebration and stuff about these fish, as well as, you know, coming together of different groups of people. So
go ahead.
Oh no, that's we're good there. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's fascinating on that end of it. And so, just, you know, from the you know, the wildlife standpoint, where are the smelt coming from that they're showing up here right now?
Yeah, they're coming from the near shore of the near shore of the continental shelf. They live out there for a couple of years, and then it takes them a month or two, maybe even 3 months to migrate up to the Sandy, and then they're not in the Sandy very long, so sometimes just a day or two, maximum probably 2 weeks. So it's really hard for us as managers to try and figure out if we can have a season to mobilize everything that needs to happen to do that. So they're a challenging fish, but again, what's kind of cool is people today are still really excited about, you know, dipping smelt. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and so you mentioned, it's difficult to even plan this out. Like, how much notice are you even able to give about a smelt run?
Well, we try and monitor it as best we can, but those fish, we don't know what triggers them to move into the Sandy in any given year. So we just kind of go there, and then once they're in there, there's coordination that needs to happen, and that does take some time. And then we also want to get the word out so enough people will find out about it that they can enjoy themselves on that fishery. So it does take us a couple of days to, once they're in, to kind of decide if we can do it, and then make sure everyone's aware of it and then do it.
So they're going through there right now, is that right?
Yes, they were there for the last couple of days.
Okay. And so for people who want to go out and participate in getting some smelts for this run, what is it that they need to know and how do they do it?
First of all, they need to, I would say, make sure you're safe, make sure you're polite to your neighbors and the businesses in that area. And then after that, there's some requirements that we have, which include having a license, having a bucket, and then having a net, a dip net or whatever that you can dip these fish with. So any kind of a net that has small enough mesh on it that the fish won't swim through will do. Your limit is 10 pounds, which is roughly 100 smelt or like a quarter of a 5-gallon bucket. We encourage you, if you have a scale, to bring a scale. And that should kind of get you there. It's a fairly inclusive fishery. You just, things you need to be able to do is get there and dip smelt by yourself.
And are these wild run smelt, or do these come from the fishery?
No, they're wild run fish. They're going to spawn in the Sandy and drift on out after a month or two, and then down to the ocean, and then they'll come back in a couple of years, hopefully.
Wow. And there must be, I mean, there's got to be quite a bit of them coming through if we're able to have that many people out there, dip netting for these.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Is like we need to make sure because they're listed as threatened, we need to make sure we can have a fishery that does not negatively impact the future of these fish. So there has to be a significant quantity of them for us to have a fishery.
I guess just to address that in a different way too, for anybody who's worried about how many people will be out there dip netting and taking smelt out of the water, how would you address those concerns that they may have environmentally, I suppose?
I would just say that we've been tracking, we have a framework, a decision-making framework. We use different test fisheries, like in the Columbia River, commercial test fisheries, to kind of gauge the strength of that run. We also know kind of what survival was from a couple of years ago, so we have a better idea there. And then we make sure that the number of days that we allow a fishery and the times we allow a fishery, so the amount of hours, it's fairly structured and fairly small, so we can reanalyze after every opening if it's worthy of having another opening or not. But we want to keep things very conservative on this because they are a threatened fish. And this was last year, which was an incredible run. Looks like some of this footage. So.
Yeah, look at it. Yep, exactly. From last year, looking there down on the Sandy, and yeah, I can see why that would be a pretty good time. I mean, for you, what do you think is the most enjoyable part of this?
I think just watching, for me personally, it's like I watch some grandparents bringing their grandkids there, and them telling me about when I was a kid in the 50s or 60s. I can remember doing this, and now I finally get the chance to take my grandchildren out here and do it again. Again, passing on some of that tradition and some of the stories, and you see their excitement. That's pretty cool that we've kind of got them back again in a state where we could have these limited fisheries on.
What did it take to get them back to where we have these runs?
That's a good question. I think it's a lot of different things. There's been a lot of work on the Sandy to kind of help restore the Sandy, and I think that helps some of their major limiting factors of dams and water diversions on the freshwater side, and then on the ocean side, harvest. So there was they used to be bycatch in the pink shrimp fishery, and then they put lights on the nets, and that really helped not have bycatch in that pink shrimp fishery. So I think combined, it's like everything. It's not one thing; it's a bunch of things that kind of helped hopefully turn the table. They also seem to be a little cyclic with ocean conditions, and so far they've been doing well.
That's great. Would you say this is a good example of different organizations and people coming together to help rehabilitate something like this?
Yeah, especially again like that pink shrimp fishery did. They put those lights on there to really help. So
And what's the most common way people eat smelt?
I think depending on your culture, it's really a kind of a cultural fish. I think people fry them, they can them, they smoke them. They kind of traditionally they render them down to oil. So
Lots of different ways, it sounds like.
yeah,
And one
yeah.
final thing, just from the language standpoint, what is the plural of smelt?
Huh, that's a good one. I don't know.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so as long
you
as you,
got
well,
me.
okay, if you don't know, then I feel okay.
Yeah. So no, that's a good one.
So just say smelt. Okay.
Yeah,
Anything else
just
that you
say
think is
smell.
anything else that's important for people to know just about going out there, even if they want to watch or participate in this going on?
Yeah, I think the other thing is, if you have children, watch them. Life jacket would be probably a good safe thing to have. And then, like I said, be kind to your neighbors and others, and take what you can eat.
All
So
right. So that's the best way to
and
participate in this.
enjoy it. Most of all, have fun.
Awesome. Ben, thank you very much, for joining us to talk about that and just to go through what this is, and an awesome tradition there back here in the Northwest. And yeah, I appreciate your time and talking about it.
No problem. Thank you, and have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Ben. And for everybody
Yep.
watching, this is
Bye.
Fox 12 Now. As I mentioned, we're live streaming, so we get to have these longer form conversations. And if you're going to be heading out there tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on when you're watching this, Wednesday, March 11th, let us know. And oh, hey, Ben, are you still there?
Yes.
One last question. I didn't ask you, what are the actual hours and times?
The hours will be noon to 7.
Noon to 7. Okay. So
Yep.
noon to 7, that's your window. All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And for everybody
You're
watching,
welcome.
we're going to go ahead and sign off for right now. We'll talk to you soon. I'll be back at 3 o'clock, so in about 15 minutes or so with more Fox 12 Now.